Welcome to Amish Roots, plain talk in a modern world. Thank you for joining me. In a previous vlog, I talked about mushrooms and how my dad always looked for bargains to feed his large family. Well, one day, to his children's delight, he came home from market with a box full of bulk jelly beans. Since we had lots of kids in our family, this indeed was a special treat because we didn't get candy very often. And this was a whole box full. Now, my mom, ever the wise parent that she was, limited the number of jelly beans we could consume each day. Of course, we never thought it was enough, but she knew that overindulging would cause severe stomach distress. So, although there was a whole box of candies, they were rationed appropriately. One day, my brother and I were discussing our jelly bean stash when we decided that since we enjoyed Kool Aid, maybe we could make some with the jelly beans. Wow! We really thought we were on to something. The difficult part would be confiscating enough candies without our mom noticing. The jelly beans were stored in the walk in pantry, so we decided that each of us would ask mom separately if we could have some saltine crackers for a snack. Since this was usually a snack we were allowed to have, we were pretty sure mom would allow it. And she did. My brother asked permission to go into the pantry for his crackers. And while in there, he stuffed his pockets with jelly beans. Meanwhile, I waited a few minutes and then followed suit. We then went to the playhouse where we had placed a pitcher of water for our juice making endeavor. Our plan was now about to come to fruition. Dumping the candies into the water, we were bursting with happiness, thinking we would soon have our coveted Kool Aid. We just had to wait for the sugary candy to melt off the jelly beans and into the water. Not being very patient, we ran outside to play while we waited for the process to be complete. So, after we thought the right amount of time had passed, and now thirsty from our activities, we went back to the playhouse to indulge in our treat. First, we fished out all the white portions of jelly bean, which we concluded we could eat later, thus not wasting any of the candy. We each poured ourselves a glass of the colorful juice and took a gulp, expecting the sweet, fruity flavor to satisfy our thirst. Mmm, mmm, mmm. Yeah! Boy, were we wrong. It was the most disgusting juice I had ever tasted, and my brother agreed. We sat there dejected, wondering how our plan had gone so horribly wrong. Feeling extremely guilty for wasting all that water, we nonetheless poured it out, taking comfort in the fact that at least we didn't waste all the candy because we had saved the inside of the jelly beans to eat later. Our plan was that we would not ask Mom for jelly beans over the next several days because we would eat the ones we had taken for our project. That way, she would not notice that a large portion of candy was missing from the box. Unfortunately, it turns out that jelly beans soaked in water are quite distasteful as well. The candies had turned mushy, and no matter how much we loved jelly beans, there was no chance that we were going to consume these ones. Now, the problem was, how do we hide the evidence of our failed experiment? My brother decided it would be best to dump them on the manure pile, and he would fork some manure on top of them to cover up the hideous sticky mess. To think of it, this solution to our misdemeanor is so typical of today. If you make a blunder and don't want people to discover it, you just heap on some BS, hoping no one notices. And yes, several world leaders come to mind. Ah, I should watch what I say, or I might get my mouth washed out with jellybean juice. Anyway, my brother and I discovered Jellybean Juice was never going to make us famous. And making Kool Aid, it's always best if you use fruit flavored crystals just at the store. Besides, jelly beans should be enjoyed all on their own as a candy. But looking back, I do wonder if perhaps it would have been more successful if we had used only one color of jelly bean rather than dumping in a variety. Or maybe if we had used less water per handful of candy. Hmm. No, no, no. I realize jelly bean juice is a marketing failure and should never be attempted again. Mach's gut, and we will see you next time on Amish Roots.